Well, hey everybody, good day, and today we are going to be doing a fun recipe. It's going to be some Thai drunken noodles. Now, we're doing this out here on the Blackstone because that's what our channel is all about, but if you don't have a Blackstone, this is just as easy to do on a wok on your stovetop. We're just going to do it on the Blackstone. Let me show you how easy it is. All right, everybody, let's start with the ingredients, and the first thing we're going to talk about is the sauce ingredients, and it's really simple. It's going to be a tablespoon of dark soy sauce, a tablespoon of fish sauce, a tablespoon of regular soy sauce, and 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. That's it. We're going to mix these up together. That's going to be our sauce. We'll get that ready, moved aside. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to boil our noodles. Now, you want to make sure you have good Thai noodles. They have to be 100% rice. When you look at the ingredients, you should see very little. The ingredients in this, rice flour and water. That's it. If you have anything else, keep looking. Not easy to find. I have a local Asian market. That's where I was able to find mine. But when you look in your local grocery store, you might find them with other ingredients. That's not what you want. So get any size you want. These typically are made with a nice wide noodle. I have a fairly narrow one, but that's actually the way I like my noodles, so that works for me. We're going to be doing this with boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You need about 8 ounces or so think maybe 2 or 3 chicken thighs. I'll probably cook all of them up, and we'll use some of the meat in this. We're also going to use a shallot, about 8 cloves of garlic. We want quite a bit of this garlic. Now, typically, this recipe will call for a couple of Thai chilies. We don't like a lot of spice. We're going to leave that out at our house. And then the last thing is I have some nice basil leaves just to make it look pretty. How's that? A little condiment. All right, let's get started. Now, first things first, I actually have a pot of water with a lid on it, just about at a boil. And I'm getting that ready because we are going to have to cook these noodles first according to the package instructions. All right, the first thing I'm going to do while the grill gets hot for doing our noodles and our chicken is I'm going to make our sauce. I'm just using a little throwaway Tupperware container. Use anything you want. Really, all we're doing is finding a place to put it together and mix it. I'm going to start with my oyster sauce because I need 2 tablespoons of this. This will take a moment here. About 1 tablespoon there. And we're going to go with 1 tablespoon of regular soy sauce. Now we're going to go ahead and do 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. It's important you mix this stuff up. This does not last forever, so if you've had something of this in your fridge, make sure it's okay. Fish sauce doesn't smell great, by the way. 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. Now, fish sauce is pretty darn fragrant. You decide whether you want it or not. I'm going to put it in because I like the authentic flavor of it, but it is potent. And now we're going to do 1 tablespoon of a nice dark soy sauce. And that's it. We just need to mix this up. I'd love to tell you I have a great way of doing it, but my great way to do it is going to be rather unconventional. There's my great way of doing it. But this will work just fine. We can dump this stuff out, rinse it out with a little water if we need to. All right, we're just going to set that aside for a few moments. My water for the noodles is almost boiling. I'm going to go ahead and prep my shallot here. Now, I actually prefer shallots over onions. If you don't have any, no worries. Just go ahead and use onions. All I'm going to do is cut these nice and thin, and we're going to end up stir-frying these and just getting them brown before we put them in with our noodles. So I'm going to do them nice and thin. There we go. We got our onions, and that's exactly what we're looking for right there. With our shallots cut up, we're just going to put these right over to the side, and we'll heat those up in the pan in just a few minutes. Now again, don't skimp on your garlic. We want quite a bit in here. We're going to do 6 or 8 of these good-sized cloves. All right, looks like we're going to do 7. That's what was in 1 clove. Now, remember, you do want to just give these a small crush, pull this outer skin off, and then we are going to thinly slice this as well. Now, we are just going to thinly slice these as well. Now, if you didn't slice these really thin, now's the time to just go ahead and get them cut up a little bit more. You don't want any really big chunks, but we're going to cook them so they're not going to be so strong. They're going to have great flavor, but not be intense and strong. So why they call these drunken noodles, I don't really know, but they are good. They're good when you've had a few drinks, and they're good when you haven't. All right, we've got those prepped. We're just going to push these right out of the way a little bit so we don't get our chicken into them yet. We're going to do 2 of these boneless chicken thighs. I am going to go ahead and cut a little bit of this fat off of here just because I want this to be a little bit leaner. I do prefer the thighs though. You know, you think, well, chicken breast would be better with white meat, but the reality is it's a little too lean. You want a little bit of that fat, a little bit of that flavor for this particular meal. Trust me, it makes a difference. So what we want to do now is we want to cut these into about 1-inch squares. We'd like to get them fairly close to the same size all the way through, just because that way they'll cook at relatively the same amount of time. Something to keep in mind when you do this. Ideally, you want to try and keep these pretty close to the same size. So if you have a section of the thigh that's a little thicker than the other piece, make those pieces just a little bit smaller than those thin areas. So when I get to this end of the thigh, they're a little bit thinner. So I'm making these longer than I am these thicker ones. That's just a good plan for you. Now, don't worry about having a few pieces that are slightly different size. At the end of the day, we're going to cook all these good, and what we want to do is get some nice flavor, some nice browner sections. So these smaller pieces will be a little bit more done than these larger cut pieces. But that's okay. That's going to make it really, really delicious. So let's go ahead and oil up our griddle, and we'll get these put on. Now we've got our griddle on pretty high because we really want to get these cooked nice and hot. This is some vegetable oil right here.
Over here. Yeah, right here. Hey, do me a favor. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like it, subscribe to the channel and click on that little bell notification so you get notified of new videos. Thanks.
Now, if you're doing this in a wok, it's a little easier to make sure that they're consistent. So we are going to be watching these and flipping them over quite a bit over the next 4 to 6 minutes, which is about how long these will take to cook. We'll check on our pot of water and see if we're close to being able to boil our noodles. Very close, not quite boiling. Now this package is 16 ounces of noodles. It really only calls for about 8 ounces of noodles. I'm going to take them all out. We're going to cook them up today just because we're going to have the package open, and I don't know that I'll do them in the next couple days. I'll probably only cook half the first time or use half, but I'm going to cook them all because the little one would love to have some plain old noodles. I'll tell her it's ramen. All right, so we've got these guys pulled out of here. I'm just going to leave it right there. It's not so easy to pull these apart until you have it over the pan. Again, these are just Oriental style noodles. It's important that you get rice ones. The ingredients in this, rice flour and water. That's it. You want to make sure of that, please. And I just cut one of these open. They look good. They've got a little bit of scorch on the backside. They are done. I'm just going to put them in this little pan, take them off the stove while we get the rest of the ingredients going. Now here's the thing. If you've cooked on your Blackstone, you know this is all good flavor right here. We are going to savor and use that. All right, our water is boiling real nice here. We are going to now take our noodles. We're going to put these guys in. Close these up. You're going to want to follow the instructions on your particular rice noodles. A lot of them have slightly different ways to cooking them. These cook for 5 to 6 minutes boiling. We take them out. We rinse them under cold water. That's really important. So just follow the instructions on the rice noodles you buy, okay? So these particular noodles call for 6 to 8 minutes. They've been on about 5.5 minutes or so. We're just going to pull one off of here and see if it feels done. It's hard to pick those up, so I'm going to do that. Every once in a while out here at the boat, I will see something I just cannot explain. That boat just started rocking left and right, something fierce. I didn't see any waves coming down the canal. Clearly they were there, but... All right, they are just about done, probably 30 seconds. So I'm going to start turning these off. I'm going to take them inside. It's going to be a little easier for me to rinse, and I'll bring them back out. All right, so my noodles are done. These have been rinsed out. I rinsed them in cold water. They're cooked just fine. Here's where things begin to move really, really quick. I have my chicken over there. I have my sliced up shallots. I have my sliced up garlic, and I have my noodles ready to go along with my sauce. All of this needs to be ready to go because this is the part where we're going to cook it. Probably will only take 3 minutes or so once everything is on. Now this griddle is hot. This is exactly what we want. We're going to start here with a little bit of oil right in this spot where we're going to put our shallots on first. Just going to do these for about a minute or so. Again, you'll notice that oil is hot. Just want these to turn a little bit translucent. Don't want them hard, just translucent. It's time to throw our garlic in there. Now we're going to put our garlic in. And we're going to keep that moving. You don't want your garlic to scorch. That moving. Perfect. Oh man, I can smell that garlic. If you had Thai chilies, now you'd put it in there. Go for about 30 seconds with the Thai chilies. We're going to put about half of this meat in there. And we want to keep mixing this up. Now we're going to get our noodles in there and our sauce. Half these noodles. Now we're going to add a little bit more oil to this. We don't want these to stick too bad. Mix this up. And we mix it up for a couple of reasons. We're really trying to incorporate these ingredients, get them searing on each other, and we don't want all these noodles to burn in the center. And if you can do this a little carefully, it's going to be even better. Now we're going to go ahead and get our sauce, and we're going to get that tossed right in here. Just want to mix this up real well. Man, does that smell phenomenal. A little bit of that fish sauce smell. Smells a little bit Asian. Now we don't want to dry these out too much. We just want to get it good and coated. Then we're going to get our plate, and we're going to plate this up. Last thing is we'll get some nice basil leaves here. A couple of chunks of those right on here. If you can find some Thai basil, even better. But it smells so good. And with that, we have it. It's an amazing drunken noodle dish. I'm telling you, this video is longer than it actually took to cook. By the time I was moving the camera around, I had to put things aside and then do them all at one time. You can make this thing in literally 10 minutes. It really is quick. The cooking itself, it's 3 to 4 minutes for that chicken, maybe 5. Another 5 or 6 for the noodles, depending on the type you get. And then you mix them together. And we mixed them together in no more than 3 or 4 minutes and just ran them until the sauce sort of incorporated into the noodles, but wasn't still saucy, right? We didn't want it to be wet. Or at least not full of juice. So let's grab a piece of chicken, a little bit of the noodle with it. And here we go. That's amazing. You can really taste the garlic in this for sure. It is delicious. Now, if you like peppers, please put a couple of red Thai chili peppers in there. We don't care for them, but man, is that good. And shockingly, those couple of pieces of basil on the top give it this amazingly fresh smell. It really is good. Damn. Drunken noodles. I don't know if now I want to go get a little drunker. So I have a good reason to have these. That is delicious. And it's like that. We wish you safe and happy grilling. We'll see you next week for another grilling video. Bye, y'all. I'm having some more.